How's it going, guys? Andrew here with Justified EDC, and I got another EDC update for you today. I know I did one of these kind of like late fall coming into the winter here, but now the winter has fully set in. I wanted to do another one. I'd say a lot of the essentials have stayed the same, but I have gotten a lot of new gear in that I've been carrying and testing, so a lot of new stuff will be here. If you've been watching the new knives and gear videos, you'll have seen a lot of this stuff already, but I just kind of wanted to go over everything that I've been carrying recently. And let you know about a couple things that are be coming up for review very soon. Just a disclaimer, as I always say, I'm going to show off a bunch of different knives, a couple different firearms that I carry, different options. I do not carry all of this stuff at once. I know I shouldn't have to say it, and most of you guys that watch the channel consistently know that, but I always get one or two people being like, you carry 13 knives at once? I'm like, well, I might carry 2 or 3 because, I'm a knife reviewer. I have to carry multiple at one time to get reviews done. So just a disclaimer. The other thing I just wanted to throw out there before we start is I know the timestamps have been a little wonky for YouTube lately. I have still been adding them, but they don't always actually add to the time bar, but I will put timestamps in the description of the video. So if you don't see it on the bar down here for you to skip through, go in the description and you can manually click on the timestamps to the different sections of this video. If there's something you're not interested in, just skip ahead instead of getting upset and commenting, because I will just screenshot you, post you on Instagram, and we can all make fun of you together. So before we get into all of that, I do want to just say one more thing. We have to thank the sponsor of the channel, as always, Auxiliary Manufacturing, but also today is the day that Auxiliary Manufacturing has a big drop coming out. So today, at the time of me posting this, December 6th, at 4 p.m. Pacific, he is dropping several of the new coffin handle series blade shapes. So this is the original pocket bowie. He has a bunch of new ones coming out with this same handle shape, but with several new blade shapes like a Tonto, a leaf shape, a spear point, a Wharncliffe. So if you're interested in any of those, check those out. Those are going to be going live today, as well as these Pocket Bowie XLs. We'll see more about this later. But if you're interested in one of these Pocket Bowie XLs or any of the coffin series, those are dropping today, December 6th at 4 p.m. Pacific. So thank you to Mike, as always, for sponsoring the channel. Go check out his knives. I do have a discount code with him. Code Justified10 will get you 10% off your order. So if you're planning on buying a new coffin series or an XL, definitely use my code. Let him know I sent you, and thank you as always to Mike for sponsoring the channel. So let's just get into some of the normal stuff that I don't think has changed a whole lot. I always start out with keys. Actually, a couple things have changed since the last one. I can't remember if I had this on my keys since last time, but I've been carrying this little Rovyvon Angel Eyes E1. It's a dual fuel light. It can run off of a AAA or an internal battery that is USB-C rechargeable. Over here you can see the USB-C charging port. Oh, sorry, I just have someone calling me. Let me skip out of that. So I did a review on this. They had sent this to me. It is a cool little light. I don't use it a whole lot. It is really just there as a backup to my main light. It's slim, it's lightweight, it has a really long battery life, so I keep it on there as a backup, but I don't really use it all that often. I usually just use my main flashlight, which we'll get to in a little bit. Other than that, I have my keys here. I have my little Order of the Black Shamrock copper tag, as always. I have this little Resqme tool, which you guys have seen before. Has a seatbelt cutter, 2 different ways to break glass. It's a great thing to have on your keys. And obviously then I just have my car keys. The other new thing that I have is from this is from Gear Infusion. It is just a tiny little key size, so if I put it up next to one of my keys there, it's very much similar in size and thickness to a key. But it is just a simple titanium bottle opener. I like having a bottle opener around, but a lot of the keychain ones are big and bulky and add a lot of weight. This is like 0.1 ounces, and it's super thin. It takes up no room, so I have to throw it on there. The Gear Infusion had sent this over to me along with a couple other things for me to review, one of which you'll see later here in the video. And then the carabiner that I've been using is by Ahiller, I don't know how to say it. It's like an Amazon special, but it's got this dual locking function where you can't just open it by pressing this here. I like that because often carabiners get like, they either fall off of my belt loop or they get caught on something. So this one, you have to depress the back and then you can open that. So when you grab it like a normal carabiner, you naturally depress that. So it's very easy to get to when you want to, but when it's just hanging on your belt, if it gets caught on something, it's not going to accidentally open. So I really like this thing. Like I said, I will leave links to everything that you see in this video down in the description. I never ask you guys to like or comment or subscribe or anything like that, but I'm going to start doing that on these EDC videos because I put a ton of time putting links to all of this stuff down in the description. So like, comment, subscribe. It helps the channel out. I don't ask you guys for anything else. So there's the key setup. Obviously, water bottle. I carry a water bottle with me everywhere, no matter what time of year it is. I just had to replenish some of the stickers on here because some of them were wearing off. But we got all kinds of cool stuff on here. Knives by Nuge, Geisley, Gypsy EDC, Turner EDC, Giltek, Hitch and Timber, Precision Masochist, which is one of my buddies on Instagram. He has some, it's like a merch company that's all like machinist themed. So I'll leave a link to his stuff. Pretty cool. Emerson Knives, Auxiliary Manufacturing, Grinder Farms. If you know, you know. Goes along with this tattoo right here. But this is just a normal 32-ounce Nalgene. This happens to be the glow-in-the-dark one. I always forget the brand of this lid, but everyone asks about it, so I will link it on Amazon. But it's good to have water. Nalgenes are indestructible. I like them. This goes everywhere with me. I normally do my fanny pack stuff at the very end, kind of like I carry my medical gear and my supplementary kind of stuff in here. But since I don't think really anything has changed in this since the last video, I'm just going to go over what's in here really quickly. So everything you're going to see, everything that you saw before this and after this is on body. I have it in my pockets or in my waistband or something like this. This is my medical gear and some stuff that I don't necessarily need to have on body all the time, but it's nice to have around. So real quickly up front here, I have two of these Snakestaff ETQs, small tourniquets. I used to just keep one cat in here because that's what fit, but if I can fit two tourniquets in here for the same size, I threw two of these in here so that I have two tourniquets. You know, if you and another person are injured, multiple injuries, multiple limbs, that kind of thing. I have a pair of rubber gloves in there. I just have a couple band-aids because I am constantly, as you can see, cutting my hands up. So a couple band-aids, just boo-boo kit kind of stuff, and then I have some flat compressed gauze, pack wounds, that kind of stuff. You can improvise a compression bandage, that kind of stuff. So medical, super important. Again, I'm not going to go over everything a ton because it's been the same. I pretty much always carry the same medical stuff, and nothing has changed since the last video, but I will link to that stuff. And then back in here, just quickly to go over some highlights of what's in here. BicBank Mini. This is one of my products from my company G3D. It is just a mini Bic lighter holder. Have a clip under there that keeps the fuel from being depressed. It also holds different Victorinox tools like the toothpick, the ballpoint pen, and the tweezers. And then you have a section down here that you can open up and store anything you want in here. I keep some, medication and that kind of thing in here. But oh, I dropped the little door here. But little section down in there for storage, and then you just have a lanyard fob and that kind of thing. So if you're interested in one of these, I always leave links to my G3D stuff down in the description, but I carry one of these. Mostly as a backup lighter. I always keep some other kind of lighter, which we'll go over here in a second. But this is a nice backup, and I like having the Victorinox tools on me, and it's a nice way to keep my meds around. Little backup flashlight. This is just the Streamlight Clipmate. It's directionalized. It clips onto pretty much anything, so it's kind of an alternative to a headlamp because it is so slim and compact. This is a ZCaddy. It's just like a dip pouch that's it's just aluminum, and you don't have to like twist it to line up anything stupid. You still have the top here where you can put empties. but that's what that is, just a little aluminum pouch for my pouches. These are not, actually, I guess I'll talk about this now since we have this out. I use these guys here. They're just energy pouches. They got some nootropics and caffeine and stuff in them. Just an alternative to nicotine. They're nice. I like these. I've used a couple different caffeine pouches, and these are the ones that work the best. So usually I dump them in here. This is just what the container looks like. Toss that out of the way. Little hank in here. One side is the normal canvas. You can use it to wipe stuff off. Inside you got microfiber to wipe off. You know, I'm always wearing sunglasses of some sort, or I have, safety glasses on for work. So having this around is nice. Also, my wife wears glasses, so she's often looking for a microfiber. Little power bank I got in here. What is this? Oh, look at that. I have a Wawa coupon in here. I forgot I threw in there. Little comb just for my beard. I got a pouch in here with a couple little things. Little tape measure. Another extra lighter because I'm always running out of lighters. I got an extra Bic lighter in there. I got this charging cord that you guys have seen before. And I have a quarter in here for when I shop at Aldi to get a cart. The most important thing that I want to point out here is this little tape measure. Having a tape measure around is super handy, and not a lot of people think about it, but when you have one, you end up using it a lot more. I do, machining work and quality control and stuff like that, so especially for me, but just in general, it's a nice thing to have handy. Down in here, got another little pouch, but by the way, both of these pouches are from Citizen E over on Instagram. This one just happens to have some CR123s in here because my pistol light runs off of these. All of my optics on my rifles and my lights on my rifles run off of these. And a lot of people's flashlights that I hang out with run on these, so it's just nice to have some extras of those around. And then I just have a little speed loader here for when I carry my J-frame. I usually carry like a speed strip and something with it, but again, since revolvers are light on the ammo, it's nice to have just an extra one of these laying around. So that's just what's in here. I'm just going to throw all this back in. I'm not going to try to pack it really the way that I had it. Just going to kind of throw all this stuff back in here to get it out of the way. But that's what's in my fanny pack. This goes everywhere with me. But it's just nice to have some extra stuff around without, actually having to, pack your pockets full. So this is from a guy called Pineapple Co. I don't think he's really around anymore, but it is just a standard Champion fanny pack. You can get them on Amazon, so they're fairly cheap. But they're small and they're compact. You can wear it like a sling. You can wear it like a fanny pack. And, having the medical in here, I usually just throw the strap over my passenger seat in my car so it's hanging right there. If I get into an accident, the bag's not flying everywhere. It's actually clipped to my passenger seat so I can still access it. So that's what's in there. Let's see, what's some other stuff that has stayed the same? Oh, my wallet. So I've been testing out a couple different wallets recently. I've done some reviews, but I keep coming back to this guy here. This is the Redeem Creations front pocket bifold. So I haven't really been actually carrying the cash in any of the pockets because you do have to fold it twice, and it just adds a little bit of thickness. So what I've been doing is just kind of throwing it in the center here and closing it. And when it's in my pocket, obviously it's not going anywhere, but it doesn't really add as much thickness. So I always keep some cash. It's good to have cash. And then I have, I think, 4 cards in here. There's 2 quick access cards out here. And then the other things I have in here are just, I keep a single Band-Aid in here because, again, I cut my fingers up all the time, and it's nice to have this very, accessible so I don't have to go to my bag for anything. And I often carry some kind of razor knife, so I have this in here from Exceed Designs. That's called the Blade Bank. Just a little 3D printed sleeve that holds 2 different razor blades. So I have one just standard razor blade in here. They came with the cool laser etched, and then I have one of the hook blades in there that I think that one's actually kind of dulled out. I need to swap that out, but it's nice. It's literally just the thickness of a credit. It's actually, I think, thinner than a credit card. So it slips in there. I can tuck my Band-Aid in there, and then it's nice to have some extra blades around in case I dull one of my utility blades. Again, throw the cash in there, fold her up. It's a nice, slim wallet. The Arrowhead Goods Co. Outlaw wallet is the wallet that I carry if I have to dress up because it's so small and slim and compact. But for my everyday, it's been this Redeem Creations front pocket bifold. I like the bifold aspect. And yeah, I just really like the wallet. It's patinaing really, really well. You can see it's even like forming to the numbers on my card and stuff like that. So really happy with this wallet, and I don't see that changing anytime soon. Let's see. This is something that I always carry, but I never really talked about before. Where's my other... oh, here it is. Lighters. I like lighters. They're cool. They're handy. I do occasionally smoke these here. They're just like hemp smokes with CBD in them. You know, helps keep you off the nicotine, helps with the anxiety, that kind of thing. So I need them for that. But then also just, I know a lot of people that smoke, work with people that smoke, so, you know, it's good to have a lighter around. Also, lighters are great, you know, burning the ends on paracord. I find often, you know, little strings and stuff that are coming off of your clothes, or, you know, like when your Band-Aid starts to peel, I actually, you know, just use a lighter to kind of get rid of those little strings. It's better than pulling strings off and having, you know, like ripping seams and stuff like that. So lighters, actually surprisingly handy. I think Bic is probably the one that I carry the most. I know they're disposable. They're not the most, you know, ecologically friendly. But Bic's clippers I like as well, especially because even if once they're out of fuel, you can take this out and still spark it, and they're refillable. So clippers are cool. And then recently I got back into carrying the Zippos. I had tried one of the butane torch inserts, but the Zippo brand one really sucks ass. So I just went back to the normal lighter fuel one. I like this cool, like, World War II looking era, like, pinup kind of thing. So I just thought that was neat. So one of these will be in my pocket. Like you saw in my fanny pack, I usually have 1 or 2 Bics floating around in my carry somewhere as extras. And then I usually carry this with my smokes. And then, you know, if I feel like it, I'll swap it out for one of these. But I have so many lighters around. You guys, anyone who, you know, smokes or is into lighters, you guys know you have lighters everywhere. So lighters, that is that. My flashlight has also not changed. I am still carrying for the longest time now. Been carrying this for years now. Surefire Stiletto Pro, 1000 lumens output, has low, medium, high switches on the side. Tail switch goes right to high. Reversible pocket clip, aluminum body. Micro USB rechargeable. The newer ones are now USB-C, which is nice. I would love to get the Pro 2. Haven't pulled the trigger yet because they're still close to like $400, and I don't really want to spend that much money on a light, especially when this one works just fine. But yeah, all the, you know, patina and the scratches and everything on here, I love how this light has been wearing. It's been very durable for me. I know some people have had flickering issues with these, but mine I've absolutely beat the piss out of it, dropped it a ton, and it has held up very well. I've never had any issues with it. Holds a good long charge, and I like that it's flat. I will never carry a round body light again. I'm open to changing that, but as of right now, flat body lights are the way. I just hate having a big old tube stuck down to my pants. I think it looks stupid. It feels annoying. So this is my flashlight for now. Very much been enjoying that. Let's see. Other things, get out of the way. This is something I started carrying recently. This is just a small pocket Bible. It happens to be it's just the New Testament, Psalms and Proverbs. This one happens to be an ESV. That's the translation that I grew up using. Again, if you guys have been following me, any of my book recommendations, my theology tends to lean towards, you know, the Reformed, you know, Presbyterian, Reformed Baptist, that kind of thing. So, you know, in those circles, ESV is pretty popular. That's what I grew up using. But I like having a small pocket Bible around, one, just to be able to, you know, read and look through for, you know, encouragement and comfort when I need it. It's very helpful, you know, when you're talking to people, to be able to quote verses, that kind of thing. Also, these are very small, and they're relatively inexpensive. I think they're like $7 on Amazon. So if you're, you know, out and about and you're talking to someone, you want to give them a Bible, this is a very cost-effective way of doing that. So I've kept one of these especially now that it's colder out. I'm wearing some kind of like fleece jacket or my denim jacket or something like that. I just keep it in the breast pocket. It's a good thing to have around, and yeah, I really like the size. It's nice. It's like, let's see, what are we looking at here? We're looking at like 4.5 by 3 inches, and then thickness, you're looking at like 1/2 inch. So it's very, very slim and easy to carry around. So that's something that's important to me, and something that I've been carrying quite a bit recently, pretty much every day since I got it. Let's see, other things that have not changed. This guy, this is my tool pouch. This rides in my back pocket. I probably will start accompanying these videos again. I've been talking about doing this where, you know, I show a POV of how I carry all this stuff on body. I might even do it at the end of this video if I feel like it, because I've kind of been putting stuff back in my pockets. But I might just raise the camera up and show you. This is another pouch by Citizen E. I've had a ton of different, you know, tool caddies, pouches, pocket slips over the years, and this has been the one that I've liked the most because it's like the tall and slim versus, you know, the short and wide where it takes up like your entire pocket. So this just goes in my back pocket. I can kind of shift it over to the side, so I'm not sitting on it. It kind of sits on the side, even when I'm in the car. I have a little retention ring on here. If you follow him at all on Instagram, these are great. Great product, zipper pull. So inside here, I have the 5-inch Knipex Cobras with these 3D printed soft jaws installed here. You can easily pop them off if you don't want them, but soft jaws I have found to be invaluable with these for EDC, because you're not always grabbing stuff that you want to mar up. So you know, if you're grabbing any kind of polymer or softer material and you don't want to mar them up, which these jaws absolutely will do. These hardened steel jaws will mar up materials very easily. These soft jaws are a nice way to kind of preserve whatever you're grabbing onto, not mar it up too much. The other thing that's inside of here is another thing that has not changed recently is the Leatherman Free T2. Just got a couple tools on here. It does have a knife blade. Hello, my wife just got home from work. Hey, say hi. Hi. Love you.
Hi, subscribe.
It does have another knife blade on here. I don't ever really use that. I mostly have this for these tools on here. You have a awl/reamer, then you have a Phillips head with a bottle opener, and then you have a large flathead. The reason I like this, you can use it with one hand. Yes, I know it's inside a pouch. Someone made a dumb comment last time I was talking about this, about how I like the one-hand accessibleness of these tools. They're like, well, you put it in a pouch, so you have to use two hands to open, so the one-hand aspect doesn't really matter at all. Yeah, but if I'm working on something, I've taken the pouch out and I've laid my tools out. I'm doing this and I'm holding on to something, I can grab this and open my tools with one hand still, and, you know, hold something and tighten something. So one hand use still does matter, and all of these tools lock in place. I had tried carrying Swiss Army knives and stuff for a while, and I don't like them because none of the drivers and things like that lock. And if you're going to be putting torque on something, they should lock in place and they shouldn't slip on you. So I'm a firm believer that if you're going to do any kind of serious use with drivers or anything like that, they should lock, and that excludes Victorinox tools, unfortunately. As cool as they are, they're just not very practical. So been carrying this with the Knipex. The reason I've been doing this instead of just one multi-tool, like, you know, I used to carry like a Leatherman Skeletool for a while. Like, here's this one that I've thoroughly, you know, beat up and used. Carried that for a while. For a while I was using a Leatherman Wave Plus. But while it's nice to have all of that in one thing, I found when you separate these tools, you can do a lot more. So, you know, just the other day we had to change like the toilet seat on our toilet, so I was able to grab the fitting with one side and then use this to turn the screw on the other side. You can't do that if your drivers and your pliers are on the same tool. So having these separated actually does give you a little bit more capability, and it doesn't take up that much more room. So that's why I do that. So those go inside. Those are the only things I have inside here. And then on the outside, I have these two writing utensils. This is the Tactile Turn Bolt Action Mini in titanium. Takes the G2 Mini insert. Just a great pen, very durable, very easy to use one-handed, very fidget-friendly. I like this pen quite a bit. It's nice and small. And then this is, oh man, I am forgetting. Oh, Solbill is the name of the company. This is a titanium bolt action Sharpie body, basically. They have these specialized Sharpie inserts. And they had sent me one of these to review before I was carrying, where is it? Just like the metal-bodied, you know, Sharpie branded ones that you can just put a Sharpie inside this kind of tube and it gives you a metal sleeve. I like metal markers because they're much more durable. You can't break the pocket clip as easy. These are very pricey. But again, it was sent to me for review. They even engraved it for me, so I've been carrying it. It's getting nice and worn and beat up, which I like now with that black DLC, but it is nice to be able to use it one-handed. So those sit on the outside there, and that is my tool pouch. Every once in a while, this button gets stuck on there, but yeah, that's my tool pouch. That has not changed either. I think the only thing that's changed since the last time is that I swapped out the normal Sharpie for this Soul-Built one. But obviously you don't need something like that. I just carry it because it was sent to me. Okay, so we're going to drop that down. What should we talk about next? I think we're going to go into something that I've started carrying a lot more, and that is these little utility knives. I think I got into them a lot. I've always liked utility knives, especially like these Giltex here. These are like the aluminum versions. I think these are the different versions. This is an older one. This is kind of their newer version. But I never really used them all that much. But then when I started carrying a Milwaukee Fastback a lot more, I kind of found the utility of having, no pun intended, of having a utility knife around. And while I haven't been carrying this one as much recently, just because I've been carrying modern folders more, in that vein, when I carry modern folders, you know, it's nice to have very high edge retention steels. And, you know, even some of your, you know, your quote-unquote tougher blade steels, you still don't want to run them against certain types of materials. You know, if I'm cutting, you know, a piece of sandpaper so that I have a smaller strip of it, I don't want to run my, you know, even like something like MagnaCut or 3V, I don't want to run that across sandpaper. It's going to dull my edge immediately. Or, you know, if I'm cutting tape off of some bar stock at work, like some like steel bar stock, and you're, you know, running that across some plastic to unwrap bar stock or something like that, or you're cutting against a concrete floor, all things that, you know, do come up in my EDC in one way or another. I don't want to use my knives for that. Not because I don't use my knives, but because that's not what knives are meant for. They're supposed to be fine cutting instruments. You want them to be sharp so that when you do need to do something where you need a very sharp blade, you retain that. And, you know, so having a utility knife around is nice for when you do need to cut on surfaces like that or through materials that will really mess up your edges. It's nice to have a utility blade that you don't care about, you know, destroying that blade. You know, if I have to cut a piece of sandpaper or I have to cut on concrete, I don't mind that my edge is completely dull afterwards because I just pop it out and put a new one in and I throw away the one that's dull. So the two that I found myself carrying the most, I've been carrying this one a lot. This is the Giltek RUK-P. This is the injection molded one. And what's really cool about this, the reason I really like it is it's no frills. There's no other tools on it. There's no pry bars or anything, obviously, because it's plastic. It's just very slim. It's extremely lightweight. But the cool advantage of the P model as opposed to some of the others is it is still USA made. He has these injection molded here in the US. These come in at $10 though. So you could get a bunch of these and throw them all over, you know, throw one in your toolbox, throw one in your car, throw one in your pocket, you know, keep one, you know, in your kitchen cabinet. And you're really not out that much money. Similarly, you know, if you lose something like this, again, it was $10, who cares? So I really like it. It functions exactly the same as the other Giltex where, you know, you slide it out and then it locks in place and then you press and pull it back in. So I've been carrying the P a lot. And then this was sent to me by Gear Infusion, the one who made that bottle opener, the Brew Soldier that was on my keys. And this is a really interesting mechanism. It's really hard for me to use right now with my Band-Aid on because I can't really get a good grip on it. But the mechanism in here is super interesting where instead of, you know, it pressing on the blade here on the back and getting tension, it actually has an arm milled into it here that you kind of, you press up with your finger right here to relieve that tension, and then you can slide the blade up. Again, when I don't have a Band-Aid on, it's much easier. And then to retract the blade, you can just press it over and it drops down back down into place. So it's much more fidget friendly, and you can kind of, you know, play with it and stuff like that. But it is all one solid piece of titanium. It's a really, really cool piece. So I'm currently in the midst of carrying this for a review. You're also going to see this on my holiday gift guide that should be coming up. I'm hoping to post it this weekend. But this is a really, really cool product. So between the two of these have been the utility knives that I've been carrying recently for the purpose of, you know, cutting on those kind of really gross surfaces that you would destroy your blades with otherwise. So that is that. Let's get into knives. So we're going to do a couple different categories here. We're going to do modern folders, which have been my utility. Actually, we're going to break it down into utility knives and then defensive blades. And they're kind of all going to be in different categories. So knives that I've been carrying recently for utility. We got these right here. So I actually haven't been carrying slip joints as much. But the slip joints that I will carry still, if I choose to throw one in my pocket, is obviously, this is like one of my favorite knives of all time. This is my K-Bar Trapper that has added half stops and the stag recover by Box Creek Knife Company. I absolutely love this thing. It's one of the old USA-made K-Bar Trappers in 1095. And again, I had half stops added, and they had like faux like bone scales on them that were like, I think they were just Delrin, but he recovered them with real stag. So love this knife. And then the other slip joint recently that I'll carry is this GEC Farm and Field swayback. Another just really great, pretty simple slip joint here. Has half stops, linen micarta handles, 1095 steel, Wharncliffe blade. And I'll carry both of these in this slip here, just depending on which one I want to carry. I'll throw them in that slip, toss it down in the pocket. So I haven't been carrying slip joints as much recently because I've been getting back into modern folders more. But if I'm going to carry a slip joint, it's going to be one of these guys. Then in terms of modern folders, which I would say in terms of my utility knives, these have been what I've been carrying the most. I went in a phase there where I didn't really carry modern folders at all. I was only carrying pocket fixed blades as my EDC utility kind of knives. But I've been getting back into modern folders, and these are the ones that have been in the pocket the most. So just starting at the bottom end of the budget here, this is the Civivi Yonder. You guys have definitely seen this around. It's one of the most popular knives that's come out this year. Designed by Zach Whitmore of Zach in the Wild, used to be a Blade HQ employee. He's been doing stuff with his channel with Worksharp and all kinds of stuff. So he designed this knife. I think it's really cool. I'm not a huge crossbar lock fan, or access lock or whatever you want to call it, but this one is actually done very, very well. The lockup is completely bank vault solid. There's no play in any direction, which most other crossbar locks, actually I'd say all other crossbar locks I've ever handled have some kind of blade play. This one doesn't, so I appreciate that. Coffin style handles, which very neutral. I can appreciate that. That's one of my favorite handle shapes. I love this it's almost like a spay blade, but it has a lot more belly, and it kind of rises up more than you see a lot of spay blades. But I love the blade shape. I like the handle shape. The clip is really well done, inset with flush screws. Again, the crossbar lock isn't gritty. It locks up great. This is in, I believe, oh man, I can't remember if this is 14C. Oh, actually, it does say it down there, 14C 28N. Great budget steel, very, very tough, very stainless, very easy to sharpen. I've sharpened this once, and it was a breeze to sharpen. I've noticed production 14C 28N and Nitro V isn't as good as when you get a custom heat treat on it, but still a very decent budget steel. The stock is super, super thin, so coupled with that very high flat grind, this slices very well. So carrying this mostly, I got this mostly just to support Zach because I think he's a cool guy, and I liked the design. I'm not huge into Civivi knives. I don't like a whole lot of their designs, but this one was really neat, so I picked it up. So I haven't carried it a ton, but enough to have used it enough to need a sharpening, and I probably will do a review on this at some point, even though everyone and their uncle is reviewing this right now. Next up, I'd probably say, I guess we'll save these two last because these two are kind of comparisons. This is the Emerson Comseven, which if you're familiar with Emerson's lineup is a mix-up of the CQC7 handle with the Commander blade, and it is in Magna Cut, which Emerson historically loves only using 154 CM. They've done a couple other steels like S35 VN and stuff in the past. But to see them using MagnaCut is a huge upgrade, and I love this. This is probably my favorite Emerson blade shape and my favorite Emerson handle all mashed up into once. The tolerances on this are so good compared to a lot of older Emersons. It's very, very smooth. It's kind of hard to show just how smooth it is, but it's almost drop shutty smooth. The D10 is great, unlike a lot of the old Emersons. You can flick it out no problem. The lockup is great. There's no blade play in any direction. There's barely any lock stick anymore after I've broken it in. Just a great knife. And then if I'm gonna hard use a folder, this is gonna be the one. Thicker blade stock, MagnaCut, very thick behind the edge. Again, chiseled edge. Did put a micro bevel on the side just to make it easier to sharpen. But that recurve here and that broad belly really pulls material into your cut. So even though you have a much thicker behind the edge, this still does slice decently well. But it's also going to hold up to a lot of abuse. So if I'm gonna harder use a folder, this is probably gonna be the one. I am thinking about taking the wave off of this just because I want to be able to put my thumb flat here, and I can't, and I don't really ever use the wave. Surprisingly, as someone who likes Emersons, I don't really like the wave feature all that much. I think Spyderco does it better in every single way. So probably going to end up grinding the wave off at some point and making this flush here on the top, but for now, this is what it is. So that's the Emerson Comseven. Great knife, and just very cool to see Emerson branching out a little bit in their steel choices. And then these two are probably my most recent pickups. These are similar knives in a lot of way and also very different. But the main reasons I got them is because of the steels. So this is a Chris Reeve Large Sebenza 31, and this is the Quiet Carry Drift Large. And the reasons I got these is because this one is in MagnaCut and this one is in Van X Super Clean. Both of which are very similar steels in terms of how they perform. Metallurgically, they kind of get to the performance in a different way in terms of the composition of the steel. But in terms of performance, they are very tough steels. They are almost completely stain proof, as stain resistant as steel is going to get. And they have a decent amount of edge retention. As far as I can tell from reading things like Knife Steel Nerds and different forums, the really only difference between MagnaCut and Van X in terms of performance is Van X trades a little bit of edge retention for a little more toughness, and MagnaCut in reverse to that trades a little bit of toughness for a little bit of edge retention. But in terms of the end user, these should perform very, very similar when properly heat treated. Quiet Carry has been doing Van X for a long time, so I have no doubt that they are properly heat treating their Van X. They're one of the only companies that uses Van X Super Clean. It's kind of more of a obscure steel, and this is everyone's favorite MagnaCut, but Chris Reeve is running this at 63 to 64 HRC, which is the proper heat treat to, for MagnaCut if you want to get the max performance out of it. So I've been carrying, I put my edge on both of these knives. This one is almost getting to the point where I have to sharpen it again because I've been using it a ton. But I put my own edge on both of these, and I'm going to kind of side-by-side compare them to see how these steels perform in conjecture with each other. And, you know, both very similar knives in terms of both being titanium frame locks, both riding on washers, and having very similar steels. I thought this would be a good comparison. Cutting performance, even though the grinds are very different, are very similar. This is a flat grind, but it is a very high flat grind with very, very thin blade stock. So this slices super well. And this has a little bit thicker of blade stock, but it is a hollow grind. So they're both very, very slicey. If I had to guess, this one might be a little bit tougher. But I did leave 20-degree edge bevels on both of these. I probably could lay back the edge on the Quiet Carry a little bit more, but for the sake of comparison for testing, I left them both at 20 degrees per 20-degree edge bevels. We'll see how they go. It's really interesting to see. You know, I'll talk about this more in my full, you know, breakdown of these two, but, you know, Chris Reeve, these are both very, very smooth actions, both riding on washers. Chris Reeve is that like hydraulic smooth where, you know, I've gotten it broken into the point where I can, if I don't do it with my Bandit, I can flick this open, and, you know, if I bend the lock bar, it does drop a little bit, but this is more of a hydraulic, less flicky action, less drop shutty, which I usually prefer. This quiet carry, while it is on washers, might be one of the smoothest, most drop shutty knives I've ever owned. This is on washers, and this is how that action is. So really interesting to see, you know, the way they do the pivots on both of these is very different, hence the difference in the action, but it's cool to see how different companies can take very similar concepts, you know, you're trying to get, you know, a very similar performance out of both of these knives, but, you know, people go about it very different ways. So I find that very interesting. I've been enjoying carrying both of these knives, and, you know, seeing the differences, and, you know, I've really wanted a Chris Reeve back in the collection for a long time, and I've been wanting a quiet carry for a while. I've never had a quiet carry before. Really the only difference between these is this is US made and this is made in Taiwan. So, but both very much like knife guy knives. Like, they have a lot of very subtle things about them that only knife people will appreciate. They both look like very basic knives from the outside, but they have a lot of tricks up their sleeves, which is really cool. So, been carrying both of those quite a bit recently. And then the last, really one of the only utility fixed blades I've been carrying recently is this Knives by Nuge Wicket. You know, just if for whatever reason I don't want to throw a folder in my pocket, this is a great little utility fixed blade. It's very small. Oh, moving my mat here. It's very small, 2-inch blade, less than 5 inches overall. 3/32 Nitro V steel, so not the most edge retention in the world, but he properly heat treats his Nitro V, despite what some people on the internet will try to convince you of. I have gotten a ton of performance out of this knife. It very much punches above its weight class, and with this offensive industry sheath, it makes it very easy to pocket carry. So that's another kind of just you know, honorary mention. I don't carry this one as much as some of the others, but I do throw this. I actually had this in my pocket today. So that is that. So that is kind of like, in terms of utility, all the EDC stuff that I'm doing with my knives. Those are the knives I've been carrying. In terms of defensive knives, though, I got to pull out a couple here, and these are going to be kind of in two different categories. So we're gonna do the firearms last, but depending on what firearm I'm carrying determines how and what fixed blade I carry for defense, and it's mostly just because of my one carry gun is a Glock 17, which I carry appendix, and I carry a spare magazine, also appendix on my offside. And then my other gun is a Smith & Wesson J-frame, which I carry my reload in my pocket, so I have nothing on the other side. So when I'm carrying my Glock 17, I like to carry a defensive fixed blade in the pocket. And then when I'm carrying my J-frame, I carry a defensive fixed blade inside the waistband on my weak side. So kind of breaking these up into those categories. If I'm going to be carrying a knife inside the waistband of my J-frame, these have kind of been the ones. This one's much newer just because I just got it, but these have kind of been my options. So first one is this Sosby. This is in, I believe this is AEBL, micarta handles, just absolutely nasty blade shape. It works in all of your grips. You can use it edge in, you can use it edge out, hammer grip, reverse grip. This is just an absolutely nasty knife. I love this thing. I carry in this leather offensive industries sheath that he made for me. Again, just inside the waistband. I usually carry, because it has the discrete carry concepts clip, which is a cloth grabbing clip, I usually tuck it behind my belt at an angle and just clip it right onto my pants, so it kind of rides like that with my gun over here. So I can grab it with my left hand like this, or because I'm putting on my pants and it's not stuck at a fixed angle, I can reach over with my right hand and kind of tilt it and pull it out with my right hand as well. So that's one. That's the Sosby. The other one you guys have seen. This one rides in my vehicle as kind of my do-all utility fixed blade, but is also a great defensive option. And I will often carry this if I forget to throw a knife in my pocket or my waistband when I leave the house. Because it's in my car, it's very easy for me to grab and throw inside the waistband. This is the Demko Armiger 4. As you can see, I've used this a ton. This is a great harder use fixed blade, ADC RV2 rubberized handles, very neutral. Clip point, you can get this in a Tonto or a dagger blade shape as well, but I really like the clip point. Similarly, I have a discrete carry concepts clip on here, so it's easy to throw inside the waistband, or it just, stays in my car. So there's that, and then lastly, my Turner CNC Jackalope XL. This is in 3V. 3V, 5/32 blade stock, G10 handles. I have some foam tape on here just to give it a little bit of extra grip because it is a little bit of a smaller handle. But similarly, again, this one, because I can angle the clip but leave it on a pivot, I will clip this to my belt at an angle like that. And again, I can come in here and grab it with my left hand, or I can come over and it'll cant and I can grab it with my right hand as well. So there's that Turner CNC Jackalope XL, and the most recent addition to this lineup that I just got a couple days ago, that I have been carrying since I got it in that in that kind of appendix style carry. This is the Auxiliary Manufacturing Pocket Bowie XL, 3/16 AEBL, flat grind, clip point Bowie, G10 scales, coffin handle shape. This is just such a nasty knife. This could really be a hard use knife as well, with the ABL coupled with the thickness and how he grinds these. Standard sheath on here. He sends them with these metal belt clips. They're I don't want to call them knockoff because I don't know who makes them, but they're similar to DCC clips, but they don't have as much spring tension. So I'm probably going to end up swapping this out for a real DCC clip, but similarly, it will sit inside the waistband here, so I can grab it with this hand, either in forward grip, reverse grip, edge in, or I can come over here and again, since it's clipped to my pants, it'll pivot and I can draw it like that with my right hand. So those are kind of been the options for inside the waistband when I'm carrying my J-frame. When I am not carrying my J-frame, when I'm carrying my Glock 17, these have really been my two options here. And I actually have to swap the sheath out here, because these are the two. When I'm carrying in the pocket, these are the options. This is the Ehud from the Defense Lab. Review coming on this very, very soon. Probably this weekend, if not early next week. Pakal style blade, 14C28N, stout flat grind, centerline tip, reverse edge style Pakal knife, G10 handles, bolt on. This is a fantastic defensive knife. It's small. It's easy to conceal. It's got that pronounced punyo on it for drawing and retaining and thumb capping. So if I'm going to carry a pocket fixed blade for defense, this goes in this offensive industry sheath that I remolded for it. And instead of carrying it over on my side like you would carry a lot of your folders, I carry it in the front of my pocket. And the reason for that being, when it's sitting in the front of my pocket, or all that's sticking up is this, it's very easy, trying to keep things center line, for me to just come right down in here and grab it and pull it out. Similarly, if if you hear in Libre a lot talking about staging your weapons, staging your blades. When I have my hand in my pocket, kind of just you're resting your thumb on your pocket, you can kind of cover the punyo of the blade with your hand. Just looks like you have your thumb in your pocket, but when you need it, you can very easily pull it out like that. So if you're kind of trying to stage your blade, this is a very easy way to do that by carrying in the front of your pocket like that. The other option, and I will say I have the stock sheath here that I have carried this inside the waistband, but I definitely prefer carrying this in the pocket. So that's how I've been doing it. And then the other one that I will carry also in the pocket with an offensive industry sheath, same position, is the BW Knives Tepes. This one happens to be in Nitro V, 1/8" thick blade stock. There's some jimping here, cord wrapped handle, epoxied, very, very grippy, clip point, like stubby clip point blade. But the handle is so neutral, you can use it in pretty much any grip you want. But similarly, to kind of, again, different ways of getting to the same thing. You can carry both of these in the exact same position, and the the aggressiveness of that cord wrap, it's very easy to just have your hand in here and then pull that out like that. So if I'm going to pocket carry fixed blades, that's the way I've been doing it. Those are the two knives that I've been carrying that way. So last but certainly not least, my carry guns. These have not changed. I gotta actually pull this out because this was in my waistband right now. These have not changed. I will say I'm very much... Oh, look at that. I don't know if that's just dry skin or if I actually cut myself at some point, but I'm bleeding. That's cool. That's fun. These are the two guns that I've been carrying. I will say I've been wanting to get the new Smith & Wesson Bodyguard 2.0, the like subcompact 380 that everyone's talking about, to replace this J-frame. Because this is my like compromise gun. If I just want to throw something. Hi, what do you need?
Can I have your flashlight?
Oh yeah, sure. Sorry guys, duty calls. Yeah, here you go. This is my compromise gun. This is the gun that I try to carry as much as humanly possible. I'd say 95% of the time I'm carrying my Glock 17. This is my compromise gun. If I'm going to be, sitting for a very long time, this is much more comfortable to sit with. I can sit with this. I've done long road trips with this for hours at a time. I can do it. It's just not the most comfortable. Or, if I just am running out to take the trash out or get the mail or something like this, this is very easy to slip in the waistband. It's light. It's small. I don't have to put a belt on to put it on. So this is my compromise gun. So I've been looking to swap out this with the Bodyguard 380 just because a little bit more capacity and a little bit easier to shoot. J-frames, while I can shoot this because I've practiced with it a lot, these are not the most pleasant guns to shoot. You're limited in your magazine capacity or your ammo capacity. It's a cylinder, not a magazine. But you're limited in your ammo capacity. It kicks quite a bit for such a small gun. But again, compromise gun. So J-frame. This happens to have the Hammery Forge grips on them. These are 3D printed carbon fiber nylon grips with this built-in wing, so you don't need a holster. It will tuck in and hook onto your belt or your waistband. It's a very comfortable way of carrying this. I do often carry this in a Harry's Holsters Icon 2.0. I'll just swap out the hook grip for their normal other panel. If I'm going to be carrying this for more than just to run out and do something, I will, throw it in a holster just because you get more consistent draws out of a holster than you do with this. But for taking the trash out, or I often will just carry this around the house because I don't need to wear a belt. I can just tuck this in my waistband. And you say, why are you carrying it home? Well, did you know that 100% of home invasions happen at home? That's kind of a fun fact. If you say you are a gun owner and you're gonna concealed carry out and about, why wouldn't you at least have a gun nearby at home? It doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So I will often just throw this in my waistband and walk around the house with it. My backup ammo here, I just carry in a Neomag Rask, which is just a way to put a speed strip on a pocket clip. I clip this in the front of my pocket, hence why I put my fixed blade inside the waistband instead of in the front of my pocket. I'll put that right in the front of my pocket. It's very easy to index and load. The reason I don't put a fifth round in here is because, and yes, these are loaded. I was just carrying this. I find that when doing reloads, especially under pressure, it's much easier not having that here to be able to load 2 rounds at a time. You see the space that is taking up your cylinder, and I'm going to be careful here not to point this at myself, but if it looks like I am, it's not. It's just pointing at the camera. Your cylinder is actually impeding that hole right there. So oftentimes when you're loading with a 5th round, when you put those first 2 rounds in the cylinder, you actually knock that 5th round out. So you end up losing it anyways. So I'd much rather be able to index this, load the first 2, and then very easily go and load these other 2. Because you have a double action trigger, even if you close this on an empty cylinder and you pull that trigger and get a click, all you have to do is pull the trigger again, and then you're going to get a round to go off. So again, compromise gun. You're compromising on everything with this. So a little bit more compromise here makes, if you have to reload a J-frame in a self-defense situation, you probably have already died anyways, or you're having the absolute worst day of your life. So why make it harder on yourself? Just do this. It's much easier to reload. That's my little spiel. I get questions about that all the time, about why I only carry 4 in the speed strip. That's why I do it. You don't have to do it that way. That's just what I found works best for me. So I'm gonna reload that there. So that's my J-frame. That's how I carry that. And then my main carry gun that I carry most of the time here. I got all the pocket lint, or inside the waistband lint and everything off of this. This is my Glock 17. This is a Gen 5 Surefire X300U. I have an emissary switch on here just because it's much easier to hit that switch than it is the stock switch. With that, all the internals are stock. The only things that I've added, obviously, are the light, the switch. I have a Cogworks extended raised slide release. And that's just so the way I grip the gun, you can see there where the normal slide release is. I would normally ride that, and then you don't always get lock back on an empty magazine. Also, because I do have just medium hands, I don't have the longest thumbs, and so I wouldn't always consistently hit that slide release doing a reload. So that putting this back a little bit farther, it's much easier for me to not break my firing grip and hit that slide release. I know some people don't like these, and that's fine. If you don't want to use one, don't use one. I've never heard anything bad about the full-size Glock versions of these. I've heard for the like the single-stack Glocks that they've had some problems with them breaking. I have put a lot of rounds through this gun with this slide slot, and I've never had a problem with it. So, you know, if you don't like it, don't carry it. That's fine. But this helps me shoot a lot better. Glock factory night sights. The only reason, I don't think night sights really make all that much sense, but the reason I have them on there is because they're metal. Plastic Glock sights do break. Metal ones don't, or, you know, probably less likely to. And then for my base pads, I have these Vickers base pads on here for my magazines. They're just easier to strip because they have these wings and these cutouts here. With the normal Glock mags, you have to go in like this, and it's not if you ever had to strip a Glock mag like this, it's not the easiest thing to do. It's much easier to grab here and strip that out. So that's why I have that. Also, if you have these in mag pouches, because these are flared out, it's a lot easier to grab these and index them to do reloads. So that's why I have those on there. The stippling I did myself. I got this gun used. It looked like it was brand new, but it was used. And it had kind of a shitty stippling job. If you look at some of my old videos, you can see it. But I carried it so much that I had worn down the stippling. So I re-stippled it myself. It's not the best stippling job in the world, but it's very functional. It's very grippy now, and I very much enjoy shooting this gun. Holster is from Hellhound Arms. Just appendix inside the waistband, uses the DCC monoblock, has a mod wing on it, has this Cordura wrap. If you're interested in this holster, I do have a full review on it. So if you're interested in that, I did just review this holster, but that's the holster I carry in. And then my spare magazine, I've been using the same mag carrier for a long time now. This is from Superstition Concealment. I've gone over this a bunch before, but you can switch it to either side. It's adjustable cant. It comes with a DCC clip. It's adjustable retention. It fits any double stack 9 or 40 magazine, so I like it quite a bit. I don't really like sidecar holsters. I much prefer to have a detached mag carrier so I can put it in the exact position that it's comfortable for me. Not everyone's body is the same shape, so why should your holster be one size fit all? You know, it should be able to be adaptable to you. And then this is just another standard Glock 17 mag, but it is running a Shield Arms +5 extension. Do I think I will ever need that many rounds in a self-defense shooting? Probably not. The reason I carry it is because, again, I carry a Glock. Glocks aren't exactly known for malfunctioning. The most common malfunction, and it is still a very slim chance, the most common malfunction with a Glock has something to do with the magazine. So instead of having to fumble with your magazine, it's much easier to strip the magazine, put a new one in, and go back to work. I've seen a lot of controversy on that on the internet recently, if that's even necessary or if that's even all that common of a problem. I don't know, but it's very easy for me to carry this next to my gun. It doesn't really bother me to have it, so it's called Why Not? Why wouldn't I do it if it's comfortable? You know, I found a way to carry my fixed blade in my pocket, so I don't need to have that you know, weak side. So I might as well throw a magazine over there. So that's what I do. If that doesn't work for you, find something that does. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm just telling you what works for me. So, guys, that is everything here. I actually, let's try to do this here. Give me just a second here. I'm gonna put some stuff, you know, inside my waistbands here, so you can see it. I'll put some stuff back in my pocket, and then I'm gonna raise the camera up here a little bit, and I'm just gonna show you quick, you know, POV of, you know, how I carry this stuff on body. So let me just put this back in here. Let's see, I'm just kind of taking one of everything and putting it back in my pocket so you can see what I'm talking about. All right, so let's do this. I'm not even sure if this is going to work, but oh, look at that. This is, can I get it any higher? This is really as high as I can kind of get this. I'm going to try to extend this out without knocking anything over. No, I got it. Oh, I forgot my keys are still on the ground too. So, all right, yeah, this is going to work. You guys can see well enough. So keys, just my back belt loop here. They just hang right there like everyone else's keys do. That's how I carry my keys. And then just going across here, right front pocket, I usually keep my folder on the right side, just like that. Fixed blade again. Right now I'm showing you how I carry when I'm carrying my Glock appendix. So when I'm doing that, my fixed blade is in my pocket. As you can see, like I said, I put it in the front here. Again, just trying to keep everything as center line as possible so it's easy to access. Again, very easy to come in here and just draw that out. And like I was talking about, if you're trying to hide it or kind of stage it, you can kind of just put your thumbs in your pockets like this. But then if you need to get to the knife, it's very easy to just come out like that. So fixed blade goes in the front of the pocket just like that. And then in my coin pocket, that's where I keep my utility blade. So this just happens to be the Giltek, but I just tuck that in my fifth pocket just like that. And then going over to the left side, this is where I keep my wallet. Like that. And then my flashlight is also over here. I keep that on my weak side. Again, weapon lights are cool, but you shouldn't be identifying your target initially with a weapon light because, you know, you should only be pointing your gun at something that you're willing to destroy, you know, firearm safety rules. So I like to have my light on my offside so that, you know, I can be looking around, I can identify something, and then if I need to go to shoot, I can still go here to my gun with my strong hand. Also, I'm often just, you know, if I'm using this for utility, I'm often like holding something in this hand or I'm holding onto something, so I can come over here with my weak side and get my flashlight out to look around. So that's why I have that over there. Wallet, and then in my back pocket here, like I said, I just keep my Citizen E pouch with all my tools. That goes in the back pocket. And then, like I said, appendix with a good holster. It's kind of hard to show you here. I don't want to be like shoving my crotch in your face or anything. But this is just behind a t-shirt, and this conceals very well. I think the thing that's poking out the most is actually just my belt right here. But this conceals very, very well. And then, so yeah, just appendix here. Got my Glock. And then running over here on the other side is where I have my magazine clip. So I have that clipped onto my belt, but then it's riding canted this way. So it's easy to come in here and index it like that to do a reload. Just like that. So mag carrier. And then if I reholster here, take this out here, that's my Glock. Now, the only things that would change, again, you know, if I was going to be doing this with my J-frame, is I would tuck my J-frame inside my waistband right here. Again, that hammer forged grip clips onto my belt, no need for a holster. And then I would grab some kind of fixed blade, like the Turner CNC, clip it onto my belt like this, so it's riding angled over here. Just like that. And so that's sitting a little bit lower on my waistband so it doesn't dig into me as much, again, if I'm sitting or anything like that, but still easy enough to get in there and draw. Same thing with the knife on this side, easy to come in here, either you know, with forward grip to pull it out like that, or I can still get over here with my right hand and pull, hit the camera a little bit, and grab it with my other hand. And then, again, obviously, if I'm carrying the J-frame, I carry the Neo Mag right here in my front pocket instead of the fixed blade. So, again, you know, need to do a reload, come in here. Obviously, I would dump the ammo, and then I can come in here very easy to index that and do my reload. So that's the POV. I know I haven't done one of these in a while, and I know you guys have been asking for one, so I figured I would do that for you here while I had the opportunity. But that is everything, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. Keep an eye out. This review should be coming very, very soon. Other than that, looking forward to the holiday gift guide that I'll have coming up. Like I said, I have one more thing coming for it. There should be here Saturday, and then I'm hoping to be able to film and get that video up Saturday. So that's tomorrow. So hopefully either Saturday or Sunday that will be live. So guys, thank you so much for watching. All of this stuff will be linked down in the description. Make sure you go check out the drop from Auxiliary Manufacturing. Again, that is happening today, December 6th at 4 p.m. Pacific. Go get in on that drop. Use my code Justified10 to get yourself 10% off. And as always, I will see you guys in the next video.